Roger Stone here for Colonial Metals Group. Colonial Metals Group helps Americans protect their future with the most trusted store of wealth in human history. That's actual physical gold and silver. If you're retiring or you're retired, go to colonialmetalsgroup.com/stone right now for your free Roger Stone Colonial Metals Group Retirement Protection Kit, or call 800-747-6589. That's 800-747-6589. Call now to receive your free home safe and up to $7,500 in free silver.
You're commuting home with Katz and Cosby. Now here's John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby on 77 WABC.
Why don't you bring in the general?
Absolutely. And we have with us now Brigadier General Blaine Holt, of course, worked with NATO and also a C-17 commander there in the Air Force. General Blaine Holt, this is a really important question. We are on the verge, I feel like, as we're heading into 9/11, you think about open borders. I'm concerned about another terrorist attack. How concerned are you, given the fact that we have all of these things going on around the globe, all these hot spots, and we just talked about that 3 a.m. call.
And an open border.
And a wide open border.
Yeah, so thanks for pulling me into the conversation, because it's a very good one to have. It's great to be with you. What I will say is something that might sound hyperbolic or bombastic, but then, of course, I'll defend it in any way you want me to. And that is, in our country's history, in our nation's history, our people have never been in more danger than they are right now. Right now. And that you can see now starting to play out with this open border, that the borders are left wide open for millions of fighting age men to be here. Well, they're activating now. We've talked about this on this show before. Aurora, Colorado, multiple apartment complexes taken. The Permian Basin, oil fields where they say you can't come onto your oil field. We are taking this. A state after state after state, and now in New York City, bum rushing grocery stores and taking every single thing they have. People should not listen to any outlet that tells them this is just crime. No. These are the early hours of terrorism, and the spirals only go up from here. Meanwhile, our military is deployed overseas, and to the judge's point, we are manufacturing shells and ammunition hand over fist, not for our stores, but for somebody else's war. So we keep weakening the United States. We keep our forces overseas when really what we need is our forces home. Things have changed. We've got problems right here.
You know, General Blaine Holt, to your point, there was this big story that John and I and all of us were talking about earlier about the military-industrial complex. And you should see, it's like they're producing, it's like for like a whole, like a country fighting. I mean, it's frightening.
General, my opinion is Ukraine has 3 chances, or at least 2, slim and none. I mean, why are we sending them all these bullets and rockets for them to kill each other?
Well, because, and here's the sick part. The sick part is Ukraine is losing the war. The problem is you have these academics in the White House that, the most service they've ever seen is playing with toy soldiers in their offices, to be quite blunt. And they bypass quite competent planning offered from the Pentagon. And they decide they're going to micromanage it themselves. So what did we have here? We started with a deterrable war that didn't have to happen in Ukraine. Then we got to a peace table that Boris Johnson and others disrupted. We get into this war with no strategy. We throw weapons and money at it, nothing else. The war goes to a disastrous place, quite predictable. And now we find ourselves depleting our own readiness and our own stocks. And nobody in this national security team held to account yet. But the realities on the ground are the troops that went to Kursk are being encircled as we speak. They're breaking through the lines. And we need to get this war to some sort of reasonable off-ramp, because the stakes only get more dangerous from here, especially if the Russians in Russia decide that Vladimir Putin needs to take the gloves off and end the war.
Ed Cox.
So how does the end game work, General? How do you see it? And what's the military side of it? Because let's say a new president comes in, what should he do?
So I think your levers right now, and they are far less than where they were when this war started in 2022. We we certainly were in much better shape back in 2014. But you have today to deal with, not the past. And so where I think your very best effort, if I was a strategist advising right now, I would say, look, you still have deterrence available in NATO. We still have the NATO frontier that we can work. Vladimir Putin doesn't want to see Finland grow stronger now that they're a new member, or Sweden for that matter. He doesn't want to see basing of the American flavor come right up on with what's happening in Romania right now. It's already happening in Constanta. So your leverage is, look, we're going to come closer to Russia, not further away. You're going to do more poorly around the world as we start to work you economically in other directions. But what we're going to have to do is, instead of going to that place, how about we find an amicable solution here in Ukraine? You don't want to be in Ukraine proper where Ukrainian is spoken, because you're going to be fighting an insurgency for the next 50 years. So,
I mean, and the Ukrainians and the Russians are almost first cousins. Why,
that's exactly right.
I mean, why can't we just settle this thing? Because the Russia is never going to pull back. I mean,
four elements to any war. There's four elements to any war. You've got money, weapons, diplomacy, and strategy. Well, guess what? We only put two of the ingredients into the cocktail. We put money and weapons. No strategy, no diplomacy.
Don't forget the politics, General, because there are politics here.
I would never
and
forget
politics
that.
in Moscow also.
I got you.
Yep.
But the politics on this side are saving face at this point, which is very sick, because we're almost over 1 million people killed in this war. So what we should do now, and I'm sorry about the politics over here, what we should be doing now, understanding that there is a nuclear threat in Russia, reassociating ourselves with that, is looking to find the off-ramp to this war. That's the right answer morally. That's the right answer for our own security, not just here at home, but for the globe, because Russia's only got two speeds. They've got Neanderthal speed, which you see with their army conventionally, and then they've got advanced Star Wars speed with hypersonic Kinzhal missiles and Poseidon nuclear weapons that could rock the United States coastline. So we should understand what that threat is, understand what our levers are, and start to
General, we're almost out of time. I got one last question. You were at NATO, all right?
Yes.
Now, very important question. I mean, I asked Admiral Stavridis this the other day. Why aren't we, he's a good friend, why aren't we taking back the Red Sea? I mean, I don't understand this. Where the heck are we?
You and I are in the same bucket. We project American weakness this way. We have no business setting a stage where the United States Navy looks like a peer to a ragtag bunch of terrorists called the Houthis. That is dangerous. It's dangerous for what the world sees that we're doing. We have capabilities that are well beyond that, and we shouldn't be doing this. And so I don't know what my dear boss, who I deeply respect, said, but I
love him dearly.
This is not where we should be with U.S. naval forces.
I agree. Thank you for coming on. I look forward to talking to you again real soon.
Me too. You all take care. Thanks for involving me.